Hi, it's Diane coming to you from I Studio on a beautiful Saturday afternoon. Today I'm going to be preparing 3 panels to paint on. And people ask me all the time, do you just gesso on the panels? What do you do? The thing is, panels are made of plywood, usually a high-grade hardwood plywood, but plywood is layers and layers of wood that are glued together. And if you prepare your panel with just gesso first, the gesso has a high water content, which can work its way into the cracks of the wood, and it can delaminate the plywood. I've actually gotten bubbles in the top of my panels when I gessoed them. And some panels can be quite expensive, and you really don't want that to happen. So the best way to prepare your panels first is shellac them. I'm going to show you how I do this. I use Zinsser Bullseye shellac. It's something that I can get on Amazon or Home Depot, Lowe's, any hardware store. And then I use a pretty good quality brush. You don't want the hairs to come out. Shellac's really easy to use. It's actually, you clean it up with ammonia, and it's alcohol-based. Very, very thin, very easy to use. So I'm going to show you how these panels are self-framed. And these particular panels that I'm using are framed with a purple heartwood. So they're going to be stunning. I have the panels made from my friends at Barra Woodworking, Bevan and his wife Nix. So I dreamed of this, beautiful wood, and Bevan was able to make it for me. I'm going to show you how the frames are put together, how I'm going to take the frame away from the panel. I'm going to shellac each part separately. Then I will paint on the panel, and eventually when the painting is complete, I'll put it back in the frame. And I'm using the same shellac as the finish on the purple heartwood frame. I don't want to change the color of the frame, so I'm using the clear, transparent shellac. This also comes in an amber color. Okay, let's get started. When you look at the back of these panels, they're just really quite amazing how Bevan puts these together. This part here is a cleat so that we can hang it on the wall. And I'll show you how this works. This part here is beveled on the edge here. So this attaches to the wall with the logo side out, and it fits perfectly into this piece that's attached to the panel. So it hangs very securely on the wall. So I can remove this. I don't need that when I'm shellacking it. The next thing that you'll notice is the purple heartwood frame is attached to the panel. So I need to remove that frame, and they have quite a few screws in. Let's go ahead and take those out. And the frame lifts off of the panel underneath. I think I'm going to go ahead and shellac the panel first, and then we'll come back and do the frame. Okay, so one thing that I do before I put the shellac on is I take a little rag called a tack cloth. And you can buy this in any hardware store. It's a little oily, sticky gauze sort of a thing. And what that will do is It'll get rid of any debris that you have sitting on the surface. I like to clean my tables before I shellac, but since they are my painting tables, there can be little bits of dust and debris. Now, with this process and with this product, the shellac, if I get a little piece of dirt or something in it, I can sand it. It's not a problem. So I'm not too fussy. I'll be a little more fussy on the frame, I think. So I set that aside and I do wear my gloves. Latex free. I love the black ones. I think they're stunning. I'm ready for a dinner party or shellacking a panel. Go ahead and open your shellac. And you're going to want to stir the shellac. Don't shake it up. You don't want to shake bubbles into it. Gently stir it. You'll see some whitish color coming up from the bottom. It's clear when you open the lid. As you stir it, it gets a little milkier looking. That means you're mixing it. And just get the top and bottom mixed together. Okay, that's pretty good. Next, I take my brush. And this is a brush that the bristles don't fall out of. It's a pretty good brush. I call it my $12 brush. You've heard me refer to this one before. I just love it. And I'm going to go ahead and do the sides first. These sides will be totally hidden. And it's interesting, as you do the sides, you can actually see, let me see if I can show this to you. You can actually see the layers of the plywood down here. So that's the part that could delaminate as you're painting. Just a quick coat. One thing that you want to be aware of is dripping. This is a very thin product and it can drip down the sides. In this case, it really wouldn't matter because they're going to be hidden inside the frame. But if you're just doing a panel, you want your sides to look good. If you do get drips, you can sand them afterwards. Then I go ahead and just coat the surface. The rule is that you really want to brush with the grain of the wood. And when you're getting panels, the grain could be in one direction like this, or it could run opposite. So just see which direction the grain is running, follow that. And give it a quick coat. This coat will dry very, very fast. And I'm going to put 2 coats on, and I can get them both on in one afternoon because I'm going to shellac 3 separate panels. By the time I finish with the third, the first one will be dry enough to put a second coat on. I'd say 30 minutes, 45 minutes is going to give you a dry coat, especially on a warm day like today. I like working with shellac. It's a natural product made from insects. I don't really know what insects or how they use the insects to make it, but that's the way it is. And it doesn't have that plasticky feel of polymer. You will want to have some ammonia for your cleanup. And what I do is I just take a little Rubbermaid tub and I'll put in about 75% water, 25% ammonia. And the brush cleans up beautifully. There's no problem. Okay, it's as easy as that. Now, what I want to do, now that I have finished coating the surface, I'm going to go back around the edges just to make sure to pick up any drips that I might have had, that I might have made. And I'll set that aside to dry. Sometimes in a very, very large panel, you may choose to varnish the back of the panel. In this case, I don't think it's necessary. These are very sturdy. I don't think there's a chance at all that these are going to warp. In between layers, I'm going to clean my brush, and I thought I'd show you how I do it. This is just a party cup. It's not full of beer. It's about half full of water. And in that, I'm going to dump, like I had mentioned before, about 25% or less ammonia. It really doesn't take a huge amount. There we go. That's plenty. The ammonia I bought in the hardware store. They use ammonia for cleaning. I've never used it for cleaning, but that's what the product is used for. That's where you'll find it. And just take your brush and I'll just lay it in there while I get the frame over here. And I want to wipe my table surface. Okay, frame time. This frame is it's about 2.5 inches deep on the sides. So that's how far it's going to stick out from the wall. It's quite substantial. And I can already see that I have some debris on the top. Grab the tack cloth, give it a good wiping down on the surfaces that I'm going to be varnishing. Excuse me, I'm calling it varnish. It's shellac. Quite a big distinction between varnish and shellac. The shellac is the product that I love. It's the natural product made out of the insects. And the varnish is the chemical, probably a petroleum-based product. So this is a little trickier because what is going to happen is it is going to want to run down the side. So I'm going to carefully paint this on. And after, you can see what's happening. The shellac is bringing out the color of the purple heartwood. Oh, what a gorgeous wood. Now, I see a little bit of drips on the side, so I definitely want to get the side immediately. So the drips can leave a mark on the side, even if you later on go back with your varnish. Once the drip runs down the side, kind of leaves a trail, a permanent trail. Boy, is that pretty. I have to show this to you before we go further. Is that beautiful or what? Now, I also shellac the inside edge. It doesn't really show, but I like to have that beautiful finish. I have seen purple heartwood in the wood shop. My husband and I used to go into a wonderful wood shop when we were buying wood to build our stretcher bars. And I would see these planks of purple heartwood and just drool over the beauty of the wood. When Bara Wood Shaping and Design started making these built-in frames, I got the idea to commission a frame made of purple heartwood, and they were able to accommodate me, and I was really, really happy. So this, all three sides of this are painted. This will be the front facing. I could paint the back as well, but I wouldn't do that until after it dries. So I'm going to repeat what I just did, doing the top first. And I'll repeat it on all three sides. And I'm being pretty fussy. I love the wood, so I want to honor the wood and its potential. It's a little intimidating to think about what I'm going to paint because the frame itself is so spectacular. And I do have an idea. I was in the desert a couple of weeks ago. I was in Arizona and I was in Borrego Springs, and I came across these purple cactus that reminded me of purple heartwood. So I photographed the cactus. They were in bloom with yellow flowers, and I'm going to print the photographs of the cactus on a paper called Gampi paper. And I'll show you that paper in just a minute. I ordered some Gampi paper, and apparently if you tape it onto a regular piece of printer paper, you can send the Gampi paper through your laser printer or your inkjet printer, and I'm going to try that. Once I get that design, I can collage it into my painting, and the Gampi paper all but disappears, leaving just the image of the cactus, which is what I want. You know, when you have a real fine material like I'm working with here, it can be pretty intimidating to get started because you don't want to wreck it. And I think that's how a lot of artists are with real nice canvas or real nice panels. You have to make the first move and just lose the preciousness of the materials so that you can get beyond the fear. Put the lid on your product when you're done. Put this aside to dry. And let me talk to you a little bit about the Gampi paper. I often talk about intention. And as artists, it is important to start with an intention. Your intention can be quite simple. You could say, I want to work with more open space on this piece. I want to have the subject be about color. For me, whatever I decide to do, it has to be simple enough that the frame becomes an integral part of the composition. I don't want to overpower the frame with a lot of colorful marks. So I really want to start, and my first intention is with the cactus. I believe that these paintings will be about a sense of place, and that place being the desert. Lately, I've been working on a lot of pieces that are about my trip to the desert and what that did for me. So I ordered a paper called Gampi. Came in a roll. There's several colors too. Basically, this is the Gampi paper. Sort of like a mulberry paper or a rice paper. It's handmade. And maybe it's a little stronger. I've never used it. But one of my students who uses it a lot tells me that if I print on the paper and then collage it onto the surface of the painting, the paper itself will disappear. So I'll just be left with the image of what I printed. I'm sure the paper could veil or obscure a little bit any color that was under it. So I'm going to use it for veiling, and I'm going to use it to print images on. So I also bought a couple of other colors which would work differently, because obviously they would not disappear, but I couldn't resist a color like this. So stay tuned. I'll keep you posted on the progress of these beautiful panels. Remember, you know what I'm going to say. Art is a practice, and practice makes perfect. So this is something new for me. I'm practicing, and we'll see what happens. Please support me if you like the content. Thumbs up, subscribe, and do follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and this is my website. I also have a website for classes that I offer. So go ahead and browse and see what's available. Okay, it's the perfect season for destination workshops. We all want to go somewhere beautiful, get a group of friends together, spend your days in a beautiful destination making art together, and then go out to dinner and have a couple drinks, okay? See you later. Bye.